While in China, an American man is very essentially promiscuous and does not use a condom the entire time he is there. A week after arriving back home in the States, he wakes one morning to find his organ covered with bright green and purple spots. Horrified, he immediately goes to see a doctor. The doctor, never having seen anything like this before, orders some tests and tells the man to return in 2 days for the results. The man returns a couple of days later and the doctor says,
"I've got bad news for you. You've contracted Mongolian VD. It's very rare and almost unheard of here in the US. We know very little about it."
The man looks a little perplexed and says,
Well, give me a shot or something and fix me up, document.
The doctor answers,
"I'm sorry. There's no known cure. We're going to have to amputate your organ."
The man screams in horror.
Absolutely not. I want a second opinion.
The doctor replies,
"Well, it's your choice. Go ahead if you want, but surgery is your only option."
The next day, the man seeks out a Chinese doctor, figuring that he'll know more about the disease. The Chinese doctor examines his organ and proclaims,
Ah, yes, Mongolian VD. Very rare disease.
The guy says to the doctor,
Yeah, I already know that, but what can we do? My American doctor wants to cut off my organ.
The Chinese doctor shakes his head and laughs.
American doctors always want to amputate. Make more money that way. No need to amputate.
Oh, thank God, the man exclaims.
Yes.
Says the Chinese doctor.
Wait 2 weeks. It falls up by itself.
2 bored male casino dealers are waiting at the craps table. A very attractive blonde woman arrives and bets $20,000 on a single roll of the dice. She says, "I hope you don't mind, but I feel much luckier when I'm completely nude." With that, she strips down, rolls the dice, and yells,
Come on, baby, Mama needs new clothes.
As the dice come to a stop, she jumps up and down and squeals.
Yes. Yes. I won.
She hugs each of the dealers, picks up her winnings and her clothes, and quickly departs. The dealers stare at each other dumbfounded. Finally, one of them asks,
What did she roll?
The other answers,
"I don't know. I thought you were watching."
A blonde goes into an NYC bank and wants to take out a loan for $2,000, noting the 7% APR interest rate. The bank teller asks what the collateral will be, and she hands him the keys to a Porsche and says it's parked outside. The bank teller takes the keys and finishes the loan processing and hands her the check. The woman deposits the check and leaves the bank. A month later she returns, pays off the loan plus the $11.27 in interest. The teller tells her that her car will be pulled around in a few minutes. While waiting, he asks her,
You obviously have enough money and didn't really need the loan, so why did you take one out?
She responded,
Where else could I park a car for a month in this town less than $12? And know that it will be safe when I return.
A guy gets stopped by a policeman during his return home one night. The policeman offers to waive the fine if they solve a puzzle and the driver agrees. Officer, you see, in a dark road, 2 lights coming towards you. What are they? Driver, a car. Officer, not good enough. It could have been a Toyota, a Ford, or a Mazda. I'll have to fine you. The day after, the same driver gets stopped by the same officer in the same place and the deal is on again. A riddle for the fee. Officer, you see, in a dark road, 1 light coming towards you. What is it? Driver, a bike. Officer, not good enough. It could have been a Yamaha, a Honda, or a Harley. I'll have to fine you. Third say comes around and the driver is yet again stopped by the officer, but before he can say the riddle the driver tells him that tonight he will give the policeman the riddle to see if they can solve it. Driver:
You're driving and you see a lady in skimpy clothes under a streetlight. Who's she?
Officer:
A prostitute.
Not good enough. She could have been your mom, your sister, your wife.
One November afternoon when my daughter was in kindergarten, I picked her up after school. She bobbed out to the car and crawled into the back seat. "What did you do today?" I asked. She couldn't wait to tell me. "We learned that boys are different from girls," she chirped. Looking into the rearview mirror, I could just see the top of her head. "My teacher told us that boys have a thing and girls don't," she added. "Well, yes, they do," I said cautiously. I couldn't think of anything else to say, so we were quiet for a moment. Then she piped up again. "That's how girls know that boys are boys," she said. "They see that thing that hangs down and they know that he is a boy." I mentally calculated the distance home. Our 5-minute commute already felt like an hour. Did you know that when the boys see a girl they puff up? My palms were beginning to sweat. Well. I was still searching for something new to say, to change the subject when she asked, "Why do the girls like the boys to have those things?" Well, I didn't know what to say. I mean, what woman hasn't asked herself that question at least once? "Oh, well, I stammered. She didn't wait for my answer. She had her own. "It's because it moves when they walk and then the girls see that and that's when they know they are boys and that's when they like them. Then the boy sees the girl and he puffs up and then the girl knows he likes her, too. And then they get married. And then they get cooked." That last part confused me a bit, but on the whole, I thought she had a pretty good grasp on things. As soon as we got home and I pulled into the garage, she hopped out of the car, fishing something out of her school bag. "I drew a picture," she said. "Do you want to see?" I wasn't sure I did, but I looked at it anyway. I had to sit down. There, all puffed up so to speak, looking mighty attractive for the ladies, was a crayon drawing of a great big tom turkey. His snood, the thing that hangs down over his beak, the thing that female turkeys find so irresistible, was magnificent. His tail feathers were standing tall and proud. She was a little offended that I laughed so hard at her drawing, and I laughed until I cried. But when I told her I loved it, and I did, she got over her pique. That was the end of that, for her anyway. But I'm not so lucky. Every year I remember that conversation. And to be honest, I haven't looked at a turkey, or a man, the same way since.